Hey guys, Rovers25 here. Before we get into the video, I want to make an apology that this probably won't be the best edited video I've ever made. I ran into some complications when I was doing this video, and I kind of decided to switch tracks. Um, in a previous video, I mentioned that I wanted to install a microphone jack into my Sj5000, but I ran into some complications, as I said, and I decided on switching it over to replacing the microphone that is built into the circuit board on the Sj5000 with something a little bit better. And that's what I ended up doing in the end because for multiple reasons. One, I didn't want to cut a hole inside my waterproof case. I'm not planning on doing moto vlogging, so I don't really need the jack. I just wanted some better audio quality out of it. And two, I think that this is a little bit simpler of a mod for some people, and this might be something that some people want to do. But just a quick little explanation of some of the complications that I came into that others might if they watch this and decide that they want to go through with actually doing the like the actual jack component. With my mod, I ran into a problem where I think the resistance was a little too high because the microphone quality was not very good. And the microphone that you're hearing right now is actually inside the Sj5000, and that's the exact same microphone that was actually going to be installed on the jack, you know, because I bought a little like external microphone for like a phone on a 3.5 millimeter standard audio jack. But when I would plug that into the jack that I had eventually soldered on to and connected to the circuit board, the audio quality was very poor and it was very quiet. And so after a few hours of troubleshooting, which you'll probably see because it's going to kind of, the lighting is going to change a lot, I decided to cut the microphone directly off of the actual like microphone stick. So I had just the microphone like module itself, the piece of hardware, and I soldered that directly onto the extensions that I had, the two pieces of wire extensions that I had on the Sj5000, and the microphone quality was amazing. So that's why I think it was somewhat of a resistance issue, that I don't think that it could, that the signal could go all the way from the microphone down the wire that it naturally came through the 3.5 millimeter jack into the female 3.5 millimeter jack, through those metal connections into the extended wires, and get all the way back to the board without some kind of loss in quality. So I decided that I just would rather have the actual microphone module soldered directly onto the board. So sorry for this kind of long intro, but again, I just wanted to apologize that this probably won't be the best edited video because it's going to be kind of spliced together from like my initial video showing how to like cut the holes in the cases and stuff, and kind of like the video that I made after I changed course, because I couldn't really go back and undo some of the changes. So this is going to kind of be a weirdly sliced together video, but it will have everything. So I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Hey guys, Rovers25 here, and welcome to my new video for the Sj5000 microphone mod. So if you need to learn how to disassemble your Sj5000, which you will need to do, go ahead and click on the annotation in the video right now, or go ahead and check the description to see my Sj5000 disassembly video, because we're just going to start this off right from the point where I pretty much left off in the last video, with the circuit board already being disassembled. So what you're going to need to do for this microphone mod is I went and picked up a really cheap, whoops, knocking my camera around here, a really cheap microphone. This microphone costs like $2.50, but I'm sure it's probably going to be a little bit better than the one that's built in internally. So what we're going to need, in addition to those two components, is two pieces of wire. I'm going with black and red here. Make sure that it is a pretty small wire. You're not going to have a lot of current or anything going through these, so the smaller pretty much the better, because it'll take up less room inside the case. You're going to need a soldering iron, which I have off screen over here. A pair of these are actually, I believe these are electrical angled cutters, but I use them for modeling. So just any kind of cutters that are flat on one side and angled on the other. You're going to need a drill bit, you're going to need your plastic case, or the housing for your Sj5000, and you're going to need a kind of like hobbying knife to clean up some of the plastic that we're going to do. So let's go ahead and move on to step one. So the first thing we're going to need to do is identify where the microphone is. So on the Sj5000, the microphone is this tiny, let me make sure I get that in camera here, is that tiny little dot in the bottom right portion of the board, right below the HDMI output, I believe that is, or display output, whatever it is. But it's on the right side underneath that. You can identify it because it's got this little black thing on the top. And if we look on the back side of the board, we only have two connections. One's going to be a positive and one's going to be a negative. So we need to go ahead and get that microphone off of this board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my angle clippers here. I'm going to gently put it on each side of the microphone, and I'm going to go ahead and clip it off. And there you go. You now have your microphone off of the board. And we can see, if I pull the board up here, that we have a positive and a negative on the board. So we're going to need to make sure that we keep those, that we know which one is which. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but you want to make sure that you don't have any kind of soldering crossing over between the positive and the negative. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up those connections, and then we'll get right back to the video. Okay, so now that we have cleaned up the board, we can see that there is no solder connection between the negative and the positive. We're going to go ahead and take our black piece of wire, and we're going to go ahead and solder the black to the negative and the red to the positive. Okay, now that we have the positive and the negative soldered onto the board, just double check that there is nothing connecting between them, and we can see on the top side that there is nothing connecting, but double check on the bottom side. And on the bottom side, if I can get this in camera here, we can see that it's a little sloppy on the bottom because I pushed the wires through, but that's okay. Go ahead and just take your angle cutters and clean up that bottom a little bit, because you want to make sure that it's not touching anything else. Just be as careful as you can when you're cleaning it up. And there we go. One more little check right there. And there we go. We have nothing touching on the back side to any other circuits, and it's not touching on the top. So we're set in there. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to modifying the case. So to modify the case, you're going to have to go ahead and reinstall your board, which I have gone ahead and done to save some time on the video. If you need to know how to reassemble it, go ahead and again watch my disassembly video, but do the steps in reverse. I stopped at the point right where I put in the lens and the little battery tray there. I went ahead and put the switches back in the proper places, and on the back side I went ahead and reinstalled the LCD. But other than that, it is pretty much disassembled. You're going to take your two wires and you're going to run them in between the, let's see if I can, you're going to go ahead and run them in between the camera PCB and the plastic housing for the battery. There's going to be a little gap there. Go ahead and run the two wires directly through those, and then you're set. So now that we have it at this point, now we need to go ahead and modify the case. So I have gone ahead and taken a drill bit and put it in a little like hand drill. So on the side of the case, pretty much right where you had the old microphone, which you can see there, I'm going to be going up and to the right, and I'm going to go ahead and hand drill a hole through that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, and then I'm going to clean it up, and then I'll get back to you.
So at this point in the video, I'm going to show you how to install the actual 3.5mm headphone jack into the camera. Again, I want to note that I did not end up going through with this mod, which you'll see later in the video, because I ran into some complications with microphone compatibility and the audio being not as good as I thought it was. So if you do end up going through with this, do this at your own, kind of risk, or whatever, because I cannot help you with this. But I am going to still include this because I did get it working. I just didn't get it working to my satisfactory level, to where I actually wanted to keep it. So just keep that in mind, that I will be showing it, but I won't be offering any kind of support in the chat of this video on how to fix any kind of problems with this audio jack.
Okay, so now that we have the hole in the side of our case here that the jack fits in, we're going to have to go ahead and start soldering up the actual jack itself. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take the positive lead, and you're going to go ahead and solder that one to the lead in the rear, and you're going to take the negative one and you're going to solder it to the one on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then when you do that, you're going to go ahead and just simply slide your jack inside the case through the hole. Take your little locking, I guess I'll just call it a locking nut, and go ahead and screw that in, obviously on the outside, to go ahead and lock the jack onto the plastic frame. And then I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, and show you just kind of how it looks when it should be completed. Okay, so as we can see here, I have gone ahead and installed the jack. We have the positive and the negative cables being kind of run around and just kind of tucked away in this corner where there's nothing, but the jack is installed and being held in there by the little nut. So now we can go ahead and just finish reassembling the rest of the Sjcam.
So now at this point in the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you the actual mod that I ended up keeping in my Sj5000, which was basically just cutting the microphone directly off of the actual stick and just soldering it directly onto the extended leads that I had inside my Sj5000, and I'll show you how I mounted it and everything else.
Alright guys, so I went ahead and fully assembled it now. As we can see, it looks just like it did before, with the exception of having this nice new microphone pretty much externally mounted with a much better audio quality compared to the stock one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on here just to show you that it does still work. And the intro to this whole video has actually been shot with the new microphone actually installed, so that will be the actual end quality. And throughout the video I have some extra captions, or not captions, but little bits that I put in that I'm sure that you saw if you got to this point in the video, that was also shot with this. But yeah, as you can see, it is still working, just for some extra proof. And that just goes to show that you can go ahead and do this mod on the cheap. Go ahead and pick yourself up one of these like $2.50 microphones off the internet. Go ahead and disassemble it. I have already taken this microphone out right here, but this is just soldered on right there inside this little cap. And just go ahead and use this little microphone and put this in your Sj5000 and you get some better quality. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and some of you found it helpful. I apologize again for this video kind of being long and kind of a little discombobulated because I changed tracks pretty much halfway through this mod to go from using a 3.5mm audio jack to just go ahead and installing a better microphone directly into the camera itself. But I'm sure someone will find it useful, so go ahead and leave a comment below if you found it useful. Thanks for watching my video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to find my latest videos, you can go ahead and click right here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to know where you can get the best deals on games and get them for up to 75% off, go ahead and click the link in the description, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter to keep up to date. I hope you all have a good rest of your day.